Hello, as we move into our number five team in the East, the top five in the East here, be talking about the Philadelphia 76ers, 22-14 on the season, 8-2 in the last 10, actually putting together a good streak, especially since James Harden is back. Still trying to get Maxey back, Tyrese Maxey back, of course, as well. They're trying to get him back, but into the fold of things. Philadelphia, who has been battling injury, especially to the backcourt of James Harden and Tyrese Maxey, those guys have missed significant time and been able to stay afloat, led by Joel Embiid, hanging in there with Tobias Harris, DeAnthony Melton, but really just Joel Embiid leading another MVP candidacy season. If they can, Philadelphia can work themselves back up into the top seeds. Joel Embiid has been a rock for them, of course, this year. But let's get into the numbers. 11.8 points per game, 21st in the league, especially without James Harden and Tyrese Maxey there. Their offense has dipped, relying a lot on Joel Embiid to carry that offensive load for them, 14th in offensive rating. But their defense has always been there. It's going to be a calling card, especially with Joel Embiid, PJ Tucker added to the fold, Tobias Harris holding up on that end. Second in defense in terms of opponents' points per game, and fourth in defensive rating, and that really calls to what this team is really missing, just missing their offensive firepower, their creativity on that side of the ball. And hopefully with James Harden having a little bit of time off, especially, of course, due to injury, hopefully that can pick back up and head back in the right direction for the Philadelphia 76ers. I had them as number one seed in the East. I thought Joel Embiid was going to come back trying to get that MVP season. Currently working on that as we get into the numbers right now. 33.8 points per game as a big man, 9.7 rebounds. That could be a little bit higher, but nearly 5 assists a game, 4.3 assists a game. And that's really speaking to how Joel Embiid is trying to build off of last season. Being second in MVP really pissed him off, really angered a lot of folks, or whatever the case may be. But he's playing like an MVP candidate this season, just has to get his record up a little bit, and he'll be in that conversation, playing stellar. Inside, outside, doing everything for this Philadelphia team. James Harden, who has only played 20 games, 21.9 points per game, 11 assists on the season, 6.2 rebounds, really playing like a James Harden, seeing if he can get his efficiency back up, getting his shooting back, and see if he can be that dynamic guy next to a Joel Embiid as the season progresses. Hopefully he can stay healthy and play more games for the Philadelphia 76ers, because that's a dynamic duo as well as in the East that can provide dividends there. For Philadelphia, Tyrese Maxey also having an improved season, especially after last year. Really trying to build off of that at 22 points a game, 4 assists a game. Really being another missing force, another guy next to Harden and Embiid outside of those two that can really get their own bucket. Tobias Harris has always been solid, never stellar, but is playing well this season at 16.5 points per game. And you're just hoping you can be that guy and be consistent and being at some point able to step up during the season for Philadelphia, because that's always been the issue with him the past couple of seasons. Can he be that guy that can get to 20 points and be a real guy that you can rely on a night-to-night basis at that position? We'll see if that can continue for them. An addition that really helped them out so far is DeAnthony Melton, 11.8 points per game, 4.7 rebounds, but 39 points, 39% from three. Really in that trade from Danny Green to Memphis. They received him, and that really paid dividends for them so far this season. He's really providing a spark off of the bench for them, really helping them out in the absence of James Harden and Tyrese Maxey. George Niang getting nearly 10 points per game, 40.5%, that's what's supposed from three, and Shake Milton, 10.6 points per game and 38% from three. So you're sitting there and you're looking at these other guys. Of course, you want Joel Embiid there, James Harden, but you have shooting, you have spacing around those guys that can provide shooting for them and open up the floor. Hopefully that picks up their offense, because that's usually going to be the recipes for success for the Philadelphia 76ers. If they can just stay healthy, that's something that they can rely on heavily this season. And to have those guys knocking down shots similar to Boston, similar to Brooklyn, having a dynamic duo, having that type of shooting around them, usually good things are going to happen in the NBA, because more often than not, you're going to get good looks and get up good, efficient shots from your team if you have shooters around your dynamic duo. And hopefully that can continue for Philadelphia 76ers. Their defense has really been there, so you're just waiting to see if their offense can get back to that high octane, getting to the line, getting calls, being dominant. Of course, Joel Embiid has been dominant. James Harden creating for other guys and finding open spaces. This is a team that could be there, and there's that much talent in the Eastern Conference there, where you look at the first 5 teams in the Eastern Conference, how dynamic they are, how individually good they are, how they have different makeups of their team. but each dynamic in their own way that could lead them to the Eastern Conference Finals. So you have 5 teams literally in the conversation to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think there's only 2 or 3 that could get to the finals, but Philadelphia is definitely in that mix in terms of what they have. They have Joel Embiid, who's an MVP candidate, James Harden, who's a former MVP, Tyrese Maxey, who's growing as a player, Tobias Harris, who's a solid veteran, and having these other guys such as DeAnthony Melton, George Niang, and Shea Milton being able to help out, and especially that dog, PJ Tucker, who's going to show up and impact the series some way with his defense and maybe his corner shooting if that ever gets on par, as he has completely stopped shooting. But as we continue, we look at 2 things that have really been helping them. They've been testing the 3 a lot, really taking away teams' 3-point shooting, which is really going to keep them in games, especially during that stretch where James Harden and Tyrese Maxey were out. So to be able to defend at that level right there, that's going to pay dividends for them. And also 8.4 steals a game, creating turnovers. Despite all that, being able to continue rely on their defense and create havoc on that end is giving them chances night to night and have them above 500 heading into the second quarter of the season so far. So to see that for the Philadelphia 76ers, that's very promising. Doc Rivers to hold the fort down. Of course, we're just waiting to see if they can still first, stay healthy. Second, take it into the playoffs and continue to build throughout the playoffs to get themselves an Eastern Conference Finals chance and a chance to punch their ticket to the finals, because this team has always been getting to the second round and getting knocked out when they're supposed to be considered getting into the Eastern Conference Finals. And especially after the Ben Simmons fiasco, you want to take the next step and be able to get that monkey off your back and get those demons out the door. And especially Doc Rivers looking to not have another setback season there, get to another level there and try to get to the next round, especially will be very, 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 very important for the Philadelphia 76ers, but most importantly, health as well would really help this team out, especially if James Harden can stay healthy. And God forbid, we do not need Joel Embiid to stay healthy. I mean, to be injured, playing as well as he is so far this season, being a high points per game type of guy at the center position right now, doing it his way, getting to the line, being an enigma, being as energetic as he is for that Philly fan base. We do not want to see Joel Embiid go down. We do not want to see James Harden go down. We did not want to see the progress of Tyrese Maxey get set back. As an NBA fan, we don't want that. So we want Philadelphia to be healthy. Of course, we want all these teams to be healthy. But, of course, it all starts with health for Philly as many as other teams. But it also starts for them getting into that pick-and-roll situation with James Harden, Joel Embiid, creating off of that, and really just being dominant, causing havoc, wreaking havoc on the league. And that's something that Philadelphia can do if healthy.